Openers. What about Mother's Day?
Yeah, that's good. Do you have much to say about that, Rick?
Not really. Do you guys have much to say?
Not really.
Okay. All right. Not Mother's Day then.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Overcast Gamer Show. It is Sunday, the 14th of May, 2017. My name's Abe Foster, and I'm joined, as per usual, by...
Regan Harper.
Balthazar Valentine, not tonally this time.
Man,
I love that, Regan. I love your intonation. For the last few episodes, it's always been this musical fanfare.
Yeah.
When Regan
I don't know what it is. I just, I want to put more emphasis into it, into saying like, oh, Regan Harper, but I'm really bad at just being like enthusiastic without making it lame and somehow musical. So
you want to say it like it's third person. You're not announcing yourself. You're the game show host announcing the next contestant.
Exactly.
With Regan Harper.
Yeah, exactly. Like the guy at the boxing who's like, doing the corner announcements and things, and then I burst out of a
that would go up
box or something.
Where you got the game show host being like Regan Harper, Abraham Foster, and then if you got the corner of thing, you're like Regan Harper.
Oh my god!
And in the blue corner, the mad Abraham Foster.
that's
well, these audio
stuff.
levels are just going to be going off the chart.
I'm okay with it.
You should, you know how Kiwis have a tendency to talk like this, and everything goes up at the end. There's always an upward intonation.
Yeah.
Regan, you should just place the intonation every time you introduce, say, your name. Just place the intonation in a random part of your name, like Regan Harper.
Yeah, Regan Harper. Regan Harper. Yeah.
Try going through day to day like that and see how many people you can confuse.
I'll have a think about it. Yeah, it's difficult because you'd be breaking out of like your normal kind of just mode of speaking. You'd really need to. I think it'd be one of those things. It'd be difficult to break that subconscious loop that you're on. But I'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll use it at work a bit and kind of see how people react to it.
Usually when that sort of thing happens, you consciously think about you're doing something. It ruins any sort of competency that you show in terms of, if you think about, now I'm breathing, and then you start manually breathing, and then you're having a conversation with someone and you're constantly thinking, well, I'm not even thinking about what I'm saying. I'm just breathing. I'm focusing on breathing. Like, I hope I don't die.
Yeah.
It's pretty nuts.
I'll
anyway.
be okay.
Anywho, what's been going on there, guys? What's been going on in your lives past 14 days?
Not a whole lot on my side of things, if I'm being quite frank. Mother's Day today. Had a yarn with my mum.
Nice.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the mums out there.
Yeah, we appreciate you. You do things for us. Yeah, you do all kinds of stuff, and you're awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that's happened, and it's only happened in the last hour and a half, probably 2 hours. We had a change in tenancy in our flat, sort of thing. So new person jumping onto the lease because someone's leaving, and we had the landlord who's bought our house recently is the new landlord. Our house, I'm in Auckland, so it's close to $1 million. You can imagine how much bloody houses go for.
Yeah.
He popped around, lovely bloke, can't really speak too much English. So had a kind of bit of a yarn with him. Our house it's a really nice place, but it has a lot of quirks, let's say. It's imagine the structure of the Weasley's house from Harry Potter. that giant ramshackle,
just like
vertically spired thing. But don't imagine the actual architecture. Just imagine the ramshackle nature of that, but sort of extrapolated into the features of the house. So I'll give you an example. So when I put my motorbike in the garage and I go to come into the house, we've got a 3-story house, so there's the garage and the lounge and then some bedrooms upstairs. I have to close the sliding door, turn on the light switch because the light switch is behind the sliding door to exit the garage. And then when I need to turn off the light switch again, I have to close the door again, flick off the switch, and then open the door again. So it's good fun. It's
Yeah,
the whole
so it sounds like it's just been
unnecessary-
really poorly designed as far as
very
actually.
poorly designed.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a staircase going down from the second story to the first, and it sort of leads to the recycling bins. And that every time I go down there, I feel like I'm about half a second away from breaking my neck. The staircase has the structural integrity of like a Coke can.
Is it
It's
quite
ridiculous.
an old house, or is it?
It's not, man. That's the thing. It's probably about 3 years or 4 years old.
Oh, wow.
Just someone's knocked it to get someone's YouTubed the word architecture, watched like a 9-minute YouTube video, and then decided that they can build a house.
Or they designed it in The Sims or something like that.
Yeah, exactly, and tried to transfer those skills over. So, but no, it is a really nice house apart from all the little weird things. It's it's not damp or anything like that, so you can't ask for more, really, in terms of that. Yeah, but Balthazar, you wanted to talk about KFC, not me for a change, or maybe later, but.
I did. Well, I wanted to talk about it just because of you, really. I thought, you know who would love this news? Abe.
Yes.
And yeah, I was just, perusing some strange things on the internet, as you do, and saw some banner ads and some little automatically playing video ads and things for these new $2 bargain box and bargain bucket things at KFC, where you can get these little
They're
little ones
$2.
that fit in your cup holder. Yeah, $2, and it's like a little. I guess it looks probably like it's about the size of a medium drink from, Macca's or BK or what have you, or KFC, since we're talking about it. And it fits in your cup holder. And yeah, it's got you can get a chips one that's full of chips, a little plastic, lid on it, or you can get one that I think has 2 chicken wings in it.
Mate,
Interesting.
you're speaking my language, because I ride a motorbike, so I can't carry KFC around in my vehicle, but I can have a cup holder on my motorbike. So if I can get a little bucky of chicken that just clips on my motorbike, and I can probably not try and eat it while I'm moving, but at least I can carry it home.
Amazing.
That's awesome. Is this the little Go Box things? Is that what they are?
It is, yeah. So I think it's a Go Box and a Go Bucket, yeah.
So it sounds to me like the food inside them is just normal KFC fare, but what they're doing is essentially just packaging it in a convenient way, right? That's all they're doing?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I'm all about that. That sounds amazing. $2 as well. That's very smart, because that doesn't trigger anything in anyone's brain that they're spending any money.
Yeah. $2 is such a throwaway amount.
I'd buy anything for under $5. I'd probably literally buy anything. It just doesn't.
Another win for the KFC marketing team. And that's clever too. They're not. All that is just a contract with a box company somewhere that builds all the little packaging things for them. And they've just gone, yeah, cool, this amazing new product from KFC. Well, it's not really new. The packaging is new, but everything else is pretty well the same.
The packaging may not even be new. If the packaging doesn't say Go on, KFC Go on the side of it, it just says KFC, then I'm pretty sure they've legitimately just taken their medium cups and put chips and chicken in them.
That is, if they've done that, I'm going to try and I'm going to buy one and peel back that layer and see if there's just the cup thing under there.
Just put a little sticker over the top, or if it's just the normal cup with a sticker on it that just says Go on it, that'd be great.
It's just stolen from some other some other company that has Go in the title.
They ripped the top half of the Up and Go sticker off, and they've just put the Go on the front.
So
how the thing for me though is, how often do you guys go to KFC? I live a 2-minute walk from one, and I very rarely go. When was the last time you guys went?
I probably last went, to be honest, I'm not sure I've gone yet this year, but if I haven't gone this year, I went at the end of last year. For me, it's that I don't live anywhere near one. It really irritates me, the locations of all KFCs, because they're all in they're not exactly in the middle of nowhere, but they're in quite out of the way suburbs. There's one in Jayville, there's one in P-Town, the one in Wellington's on Kent Terrace, or no, not Kent, or is it? Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, Kent Terrace, yeah, it is, yeah.
They're all just that little bit too far out of my way normally for me to justify going to one. But whenever I'm certainly in an area that has a KFC immediately there, I will normally stop in and grab some. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
So a good thing about being in Auckland is literally, especially out west, I think every suburb has a KFC.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Yeah. Any suburb you're in, you can guarantee there'll be a KFC around there somewhere.
So you go fairly often then, Abe?
I try not to, because I would, like, if I was unrestrained and I just went as much as I wanted to, I would be dead in like 2 weeks. So I probably go maybe once a week, maybe once every week and a half. So I think that's an all right sort of amount thing. But the other thing in terms of what were you going to say? Sorry, man.
Do you own any shares in KFC? Like, a legitimate question, because we get vouchers all the time in the mail, because Hannah's actually a KFC shareholder. So we get free like Zinger Burger vouchers and stuff like that. And apparently KFC, they pay you in KFC, not money, if you're a shareholder.
I do not, but that sounds amazing. I need to pick up some... Oh my God.
You absolutely should, because you could probably just buy like one share, and, you know, even if you did nothing with it, every, month you'd receive a voucher for some free food.
Man. This is like the ultimate in life hacks. I'm writing this down so I remember to do this later.
I'm Googling it right now.
My first dip into the stock market is going to be, as you would have expected. But the other thing I just want to talk about in reference to KFC is the romance novel that they've put out recently, which is just... Their marketing is so on point, It's ridiculous. So they put it out for Mother's Day, and it's called Tender Wings of Desire, and it's got the art features a strapping young Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, well, he still has that old man face to him, though.
He does.
He's just got
he's got massive like biceps.
Yeah, he's just looking like a man in his prime, aside from the bolo tie and. From the neck up, he's basically an old man. It's awesome.
So good. I love the art. The art's sort of like done on this rustic style. But I thought that was wonderful. I haven't actually read the book. It's free. You can get it for free on the KFC website. But I've decided that I'm going to start penning a competing KFC novel, because this novel, the novel they put out for Mother's Day, is obviously worldwide. So it's not niche enough for me. So I'm going to write a New Zealand centric KFC romance novel.
Have you got have you got any snippets you can share with us?
What was that? Sorry, Regan.
Have you got any snippets you can share with us?
Well, funny you should mention that. So I actually do have a bit of an excerpt I can read out to you guys if you want. I'll do a dramatic reading of this one.
As long as it's PG, As long as
it's definitely PG. It's I'm deciding how raunchy this is going to get. For mass appeal, I would say not too raunchy. But there will be a hell of a lot of implications, I'll tell you that much.
Nice, yep.
All right, so I'll do a reading of it. So I've got 2 working titles, and I'll tell you guys the working titles after I've read the excerpt, and you can vote on which title. I had 3, but one got vetoed because it was too graphic. So we'll get started. Okay. He made the order, and 2 wicked lunches soon graced their presence. She had fluttered at the swapping of the drinks for potato and gravy at an extra 50 cents. What a guy. Maybe it was the deep fryers and hundreds of litres of boiling oil nearby, but suddenly her face felt like a Northland barbecue in January. That's more chips than any one fella needs, she teased, brushing her hair to one side. Who said anything about just me? He winked, wiping his hands down his jeans. Dig in. So that's the teaser.
Nice.
If people want the full novel, we could even get a Kickstarter thing going. So if I get paid before I've actually made the product, that seems to be the business model nowadays. We could get that going.
Full of innuendo, nice one.
It's a tricky thing, because you've got to write it. You've got to write well, but you've also got to write just crappy enough so it feels like a romance novel. So I've sort of been studying. I actually read the first chapter of 50 Shades of Grey many years ago just to see what all the hubbub was about. Terrible, very bad decision. But I understand how these things are written. It's just really vaguely disguised, really poorly disguised innuendo, and just a not quite a grasp of the English language.
Yeah, totally. Just like slightly clunky sentences and
lots of run-on sentences, lots of poor descriptions and analogies and things like that. So the 2 working titles I've got, The 11 Secrets of Cindy Spice. Cindy is spelt with an S. And West Auckland Wishbone. So
interesting.
Which one do you guys prefer out of those 2?
I do love a bit of alliteration, and they both have a good good dolloping of that going on.
Yeah.
I enjoy the whole play on the 11 herbs and spices. So yeah, I'd probably go on that one.
My vote's for that one as well, because you can never have too many, secret herbs and spices references.
The 11 Secrets of Cindy Spice. Okay. Awesome. I'll tell you the third one that got vetoed anyway. It was called Chicken Grease and Sexual Intercourse.
Oh, right. Not quite enough innuendo there, man. It's
no. It was probably a bit too getting into the R-rated territory there.
Yeah,
so.
and it doesn't really scream KFC. Like chicken and grease could be anything. It could be like
I don't know about you, Regan, but when I think of KFC, sex springs to mind immediately. It's just this evokes that sort of response.
Yep.
But anyway, we may move on from introductions and a whole bunch of KFC talk. Every time I say I'm not going to talk about KFC anymore, and then I don't know, I'm either enabled or I just do it to myself.
This time it was Balthazar. I'll just put I'll put a notch next to Balthazar on the KFC tally that we're keeping.
Yeah. Anyway, we better talk about some video games. What have you guys been playing? Balthazar, you are a go man.
I've been playing a few new things actually this fortnight, also a few old things still, but it's been a PC-heavy fortnight actually. I picked up an early access game, which, immediately people groan, because early access is, the latest craze in business models where they deliver a half-finished product on the promise that one day it will be finished, and then it's never finished. But you don't notice because you've jumped onto the next early access thing, because it's all just one big hype train. I don't subscribe to the early access model typically. I will, buy a game if I want to play that game as it currently stands, and that was the case again with this one. So this one I picked up was PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. It's a
acronym
battle royale, basically. PUBG.
Yeah.
It's basically battle royale. It's sort of 96 people in a game. You are in a plane that flies over an island. I like sitting in the plane in first person and just looking at people, as just looking up and down and seeing how 90% of everyone who plays the game makes a black character. And really? Then almost everyone makes a black character. Not sure why. It's odd. I should mention as well, I'm playing on the Oceanic servers, so that's why I kind of observe it as being odd, because just walking around New Zealand, you don't see too many genuine African Americans in Wellington, kind of thing. Certainly not 90% as a ratio. So it's a lot of people unhappy with themselves, I suppose, playing this game, making characters of a different race. But no, you hop out of the plane, you parachute down onto this island, waiting, of course, until the last minute to pull your chute, because if you parachute the whole way down, it'll take you fucking forever and you'll probably be shot down. And you start with nothing. You run to buildings, grab guns, shoot other people. You have to constantly keep moving because the play zone is shrinking. You can see on your map, kind of get to this area in the next minute and a half. So you got to either leg it or find a car. But if you find a car, you're noisy and people see you, and cars are very easy to blow up. It's just try to be the last person standing. And
is it an Arma 3 mod, Balthazar?
No, but it's a standalone game made by the dude who made H1Z1 and the Battle Royale mod that was potentially for Arma 3. I'm not sure. Like, it was a mod something else. But this guy has a background of delivering kind of that style game as an experience of some sort, but always with someone else. And I think this is one where he just kind of struck out on his own. He's like, well, I'm going to make the one that I want to make, that I just want to make the pinnacle of these Battle Royale style games, basically. And it's very fun. It's really fun. One of the best things about it, I think, is, I've played sort of some of those types of games before, like Survival of the Fittest, one of the Ark mods and stuff like that, where the lobby is painful. You're sitting there for like 20 minutes waiting for enough people to join the game, and then when the game starts, if you die straight away, fucking 20 minutes again before you're going to get to do anything. Whereas PUBG, you're in straight away. You click play, you select your server, you click play, it pops you in a lobby, which I've never been in a lobby for more than 2 minutes, because you just watch that counter tick up. Like at one point I joined and I was the 4th person in the lobby. Less than 2 minutes later it was capped at 96 and it was counting down that last 30 seconds till it starts, kind of thing. And then as soon as you die, you can just hit exit lobby, matchmake, and you're immediately in another game again straight away. Like there's no messing around, and I think that's why I find this game so fun, is because that's my most hated thing. I think it's most people's most hated thing in games, is sitting around in the lobby waiting to start playing the game. And certainly it's going to be due to its popularity at the moment, because it's so huge. It's got a massive player base, but that just means it's really fun to play right now, because you just get into a game straight away.
So they're obviously running dedicated servers on their end, sort of thing.
Yeah, they must be, because it's pretty stable.
Going through anyone else,
I mean, I'm no amazing player at it. I think I came 13th as the best I've done so far out of 96. After I died, there were only 12 people still in the game, so I came decently. But I've only gotten 1 kill total in my several, because typically I end up landing somewhere where there's no other people, and the first guy I see sees me first and shoots me in the back of the head, kind of thing. But I mean, that's all part of the learning curve. You got to learn how to move around the map without being seen, how to sneak up on other people. So it's great fun. It's not something where if you're alive in it for 10 minutes and then you finally die, you don't feel like, oh, well, that was crap, because, I never saw anyone and I was just sneaking around buildings, because you've always got that fear. You always feel like someone's watching you. So even when there's no one around, you don't feel like you're not playing the game. You always feel like there's probably someone around the next corner, kind of thing. So you're on edge the whole time.
What kind of progression stuff does the game have? Like, do you earn points and go up levels or anything like that, or any RPG kind of elements?
You earn points, when you finish a match, you get, I think it's called battle points, and you can spend those in the store on just crates which contain gear, so you can start with slightly better armor and stuff, because typically you just start, we're not naked, you can choose what you wear, but it's just clothes, kind of thing, it's just cosmetic stuff. And I'm pretty sure probably what you buy is just cosmetic as well. I doubt they'd let you start with armor and stuff, because then you'd have too unfair an advantage over people who have just started. But yeah, it gives you some. I'm not sure, because I've not bought my first one yet. You need 700 battle points for it, and I've only played like 4 matches, so I only have sort of 350 battle points or something. So yeah, I guess I can let you guys know what you get when I've actually bought one of them. But certainly there's no progression, I don't think, in terms of starting with particularly good stuff or upgrading your character, because the whole point is you always start on even footing with everyone. You all start with nothing.
I'd imagine, like you say, it'd be cosmetic stuff, And I think that's what people enjoy on those games. You might get like
in terms of the is it sort of a sim style, with damage and stuff like that? Is it 1 shot to the head kills and 2 or 3 body shots kills?
So if you take a headshot and you're not wearing an armored helmet, you're down. If you're wearing an armored helmet, it depends. If you get shot in the back of the head with a helmet on, you're not down in one go. But if you get shot in the face and your helmet doesn't have a visor, then you're gone, kind of thing.
Right.
And body shots, it takes a couple to take you down, but literally only a couple. You don't really have time to react. If you're getting shot from the side and you don't identify them after taking that first shot, you're dead, because it's like 2, maybe 3 at a push shots and you're dead, even just body shots, kind of thing. So you're very squish. It's very much, going for a realistic combat situation as much as you can do that with a completely scripted, you jump out of a plane just to kill each other kind of thing. And you can't, there's no sort of regeneration or anything, but you can find med kits and stuff around which you can use to heal yourself, but it takes like 5 seconds, so you're sitting there stationary wrapping yourself for 5 seconds, completely vulnerable and stuff if you find a health kit. So it feels like it's just well balanced towards quick rounds, but where it is entirely skill based. It doesn't really feel like there's much, RNG or anything going on in terms of placement, because you choose when you jump out of the plane, you choose where you land. You can stay in the plane longer and jump out on the other end of the island. You could activate your parachute really high up so that you've got more, gliding space to travel a greater distance and stuff like that. So it's entirely just you play the way that you feel is the most effective and just see how you do. And I feel like it's balanced really well.
That sounds really good. It sounds to me like it could easily become an esport. You know, that kind of.
Oh yeah, they've already had a charity event. Like they've already had a tournament where people play and earn money for charity.
Wow, that's cool.
This thing must be huge.
Yeah, it is, and it's only been out for like maybe 2 months at a push. It's barely, and that's out. When I say out, I mean it's been in early access for maybe 2 months, and it's already having charity tournaments. It's huge. Like I feel like this game may actually release. So yeah, no, it's really fun. But we will leave on that for now, because we've talked about that a wee bit, and I do have one more new Steam game I purchased, which is an indie game which was kickstarted, I believe, which is Hollow Knight.
Nice. I've seen the look. Very interesting visual look to this game.
Yeah, so it's all sort of very stylized, hand-drawn sort of graphics. It's a 2D Metroidvania sort of platformer with that sort of same progression stuff where you find an ability when you make your way through the area, and you then have that ability to use to, if you want, go back and access other areas or keep pushing through. But then it's also got the whole Souls mechanic of when you die, you lose all your currency and have to get back to where you died. Only they add a new spin on that, which is when you get back to where you died, you have to defeat your sort of evil revenant to regain your stuff from it.
Cool.
Okay.
It's quite tricky. I guess because I'm not good at platforming either. I'm not a good platform gamer, so I miss a lot of, like, the platforms are very small. You need to be very precise. I guess that's another, Souls thing, is they've made it balls hard for no reason other than being able to say it's really difficult.
Right.
So the platforming segments are brutal. We're talking sort of Super Meat Boy unforgiving with some of the platforming segments. And at the start, all you can do is jump, jump and attack. As you go on, you get things like double jump and dash and all this stuff, so that you can pretty much keep yourself airborne forever. So that makes some of them easier, but also shows how hard some of it gets as you go on. Like, you need to be able to perfectly time your jumps and your dashes and everything to just keep yourself in the air perpetually while dodging buzzsaws coming at you from every angle, kind of thing.
I'm all about it. Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah, all that, and then also just combat. The boss fights very sort of old school feeling, where they've got their patterns, they've got their mechanics, and you need to beat each stage. They've got 3 stages. You beat the first stage, goes to the second, then the third, and when you've beaten the third stage, they're dead, kind of thing. So it's back to the old school 3 hits and all that kind of thing. But yeah, no, it's great fun. I highly recommend it. I think I picked it up for $16 on Steam. And,
awesome. Do you know is that on consoles as well, Balthazar? Or just?
I have no idea. Sorry, I didn't really research all the platforms it was on. I just decided I wanted to grab it on PC. I don't think it is at the moment on anything other than PC. But it did only come out in February this year, so it may be multi-platforming over time.
Yep, it looks like I've just googled and it says PS4 port coming later this year. So yeah, it looks like
cool. Yeah,
consoles later on.
Sounds like a very cool mix of different mechanics and things. Like that.
Yeah.
And
it all helps, but it just looks so good as well. It's another one of those games that's really heightened by its visuals. The fact that it has quite a unique art style. It looks like you're kind of flipping through a black and white picture book kind of thing, which all just looks very cool.
Yeah, it's sort of, from what you've described, it reminds me of, I'm not sure if you guys ever played this game, but Ori and the Blind Forest on Xbox. Yeah. Reminds me of that, like, the fact that it's really, really tricky and just visually striking and has a really unique art style kind of thing.
And I would say it's also quite similar. So narratively, not in the sense that, Ori and the Blind Forest was quite sad, but this game isn't sad, but it does have quite a strong narrative in a weird way, but in that Dark Souls way, again, where the story isn't told through telling you the story, you kind of observe and perceive the story as you make your way through the world, and the story is quite powerful as you go through. So yeah, there's that as well for you to look forward to if it does come to PS4 and you pick it up.
Awesome, man. That sounds like right up my alley. I'm going to keep an eye on that one. Anything else for you there, Balthazar?
I'll just mention the final thing. I won't go into it too much. Is you guys probably remember I was saying I was tossing up whether or not to repurchase Dark Souls 3 on Steam. I did it. I bought it on Steam. It was I actually got it yesterday. It's 50% off at the moment, so I got it for $50 with all the DLCs.
Nice.
And oh my god, I love it. Like, I mean, I already love Darksiders. I've talked about it the past few weeks anyway, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore after this. But getting to play it at an uncapped frame rate and at sort of 1440p, 144 hertz, everything like that. Like, it's so smooth. It's like, because I mean, Souls, you played Bloodborne a bit and everything. Like, the frame rates have always been really painful with those games on PlayStation, but on PC those issues are all gone. It's all buttery smooth, and I love it. And I'm looking at it right now. I got my Steam thing open. I've already unlocked 16% of the achievements again, like, just in the 4 hours. That's how well I know that game. I can just blitz through and grab everything on the way, kind of thing, just rushing for that PvP area.
That's awesome, man. I'll definitely. I love what I played of Bloodborne. It's a game that I need to play in very small bursts because it's too intense. It's too intense for me. It's like, fuck. I need to really, like, psych myself up and get in the right mindset when I play that game. Very good. Regan, what have you been playing, man?
Well, nothing huge since the last time we all spoke. I have nearly finished The Stick of Truth.
Nice.
Well, I think I've nearly finished anyway. It's been a pleasure to play that game. I mean, you guys have played it. You both loved it when you played it, obviously.
Yep.
And I think I've sort of enjoyed it even more for the fact that I'm not a huge South Park fan. So, like, I'm coming in a way, like, I'm coming to it from not really not really having any expectations around sort of South Park style of humor or kind of the tangents that could potentially come up within a South Park episode, or in this case a South Park game. So it's been awesome to, like, just be totally blindsided by the ridiculous shit, and in some cases literally shit, that come up during the game. And so
you've been running into all these characters and things like the collectibles in the game, I believe, are the Chin Pokemon.
Yes.
So you wouldn't really have any background as to what those are. I mean, you could probably tell, but there's a whole episode dedicated to Chin Pokemon, which is amazing episode of South Park.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And if anything, it's kind of just like, man, I obviously really need to go back and get to know all the characters and things. Just absolutely, like, mind-boggling stuff where, like, you have to shrink yourself down and climb inside the anus of a guy and go in there to try and achieve a goal, and the whole section where you end up in Canada. And the whole style.
That's when I fell in love with that game, is the Canada part. I was like, okay, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, like, how did they think to change it stylistically like that? So the game goes, if you haven't played it, the game goes from, classic South Park 2D animation in terms of, seeing everything from the side on. When you go to Canada, you go, north and north again, and then north, and then once again north, and you end up in Canada, and everything changes to sort of like a top-down, old-school kind of SNES Zelda.
It's Zelda inspired.
Yeah, essentially. And it's like, why did they choose to do this? Like, but it works perfectly. And
the fighting in that area as well in Canada is all the animals, and you fight bears and things like that, and they all look like they're made of, like, they're like one shade or like a really jagged shape. It's really poorly constructed.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the South Park characters look like they're made of paper. But this is just like, they got a grey sheet of paper, roughly cut it out into what they thought looked like a wolf, and that was it. Like, that's all they did.
Good.
Maybe put like a little black dot where the eye is, things like that. But yeah, like, oh man, just little things as well. Like, there's this green goo that's turning everyone into Nazi zombies, and then you get Nazi zombie fetuses and like little bits of bacteria on the ground that have Nazi caps on. Like, this is like bacterial goo on the ground with a Nazi cap on top, so that you know that it's not just goo, but it's a Nazi zombie goo. Like, it's
a massive racist.
Yeah. Oh man, there's a lot to love about the game, and I've loved my time with it. I think I'm nearly finished. I could be wrong, but there's still some bits and pieces that I want to kind of finish. Like, I want to beat
go through and clean up.
Yeah, I want to beat Al Gore. Because
yeah.
he's really pissing me off with all of his, Facebook spamming.
He starts sending you all those Facebook notifications.
yeah. And it's non-stop. It's non-stop. I tried to do it right when he started sending me those notifications, but he kicked my ass. Like I couldn't kill him.
He's super powerful, Al Gore.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go back and deal with him again. But it's great. It's been a hoot the whole time. So I'm looking forward to kind of finishing it off. And yeah, I mean, if you've not played it before, you can actually get. If you pre-order the Fractured But Whole, you get that for free straight away, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, it's been a delight. Aside from that, I've also been, well, as of last night, this is another reason, Balthazar, to like tout the powers of the PC. I'm a big like racing sim fan, as some of you guys may know, and I used to have this, well, I still do, but I had this like a racing steering wheel that worked amazingly on PS3. It was like one of the best ones you could buy for PS3, and I was quite gutted when I found out that when I bought my PS4, it wasn't compatible. So I had to go out and buy like a cheapo steering wheel for the PS4. The biggest difference being that the cheapo one didn't have any kind of like force feedback, and like a good steering wheel will have that has a motorized mechanism that kind of like, you know, you can kind of feel the shift of the car and all that kind of stuff, which is super fun. And then I was thinking to myself last night, like, oh, I wonder if it'll work for PC. So I plugged it into my PC and bam, like just installed into Windows, and now I've got like my awesome steering wheel back. So I went on Steam and bought Dirt Rally again on PC for like $20 or something.
Nice.
And I was playing that as well again last night. So now I get to play that at like 60 frames per second flawlessly with this epic steering wheel. Yeah, and I'm like back in heaven again. It's awesome.
It's really painful because, I mean, my growing up was, you know, console, not PC, and particularly PlayStation. And so I'll always love PlayStation, but at the same time, I can't deny that. I said it again last night to Hannah when we were going to bed. I was like, I think I should sell my PlayStation, like, because I've reached a point like, every game I play now is on PC, and the only ones that I played on PlayStation was because I had an affinity to, you know, owning them and playing them on PlayStation, like Dark Souls. But then when I rebought it on PC, I was like, oh, it's just better. It's better on PC. So I was thinking about it, and she was like, oh, the only reason, you know, I'd say that you still have your PlayStation is Nier, because you love Nier so much. And I was like, yeah, but remember, I only bought that on PlayStation because it came out 2 weeks earlier on PlayStation. Nier is now on PC. I can rebuy that on Steam as well. So I'm so close to selling my PS4 and just having PC for all my real games and then Switch for all my fun games.
So just a couple of IPs. What about Last of Us or God of War or
Yeah, God of War would be the only one. I mean, Last of Us, no. Like, I loved the first Last of Us. I do not think it should have a sequel. I think that's a big mistake. I do not believe that game should have a sequel at all. I've never been excited for it. When it was announced, my immediate thing was, here we go. Like, it's not going to live up to what people want from it. It's not. Like, I have faith in Naughty Dog. I don't have that level of faith in Naughty Dog. I don't think it's going to achieve what everyone expects it to, and I think it's a mistake to make it. But God of War, absolutely, that would be guttering to not be able to get. But you forget, we have 2 PS4s. I'll be selling mine. Hannah will still have hers.
Right.
Yeah.
So I will still be able to play them. I just won't be able to primarily play a PlayStation whenever I want because it's not mine, but I will still have access to one when it's not in use to play those first-party IPs that I really need.
So basically you're saying this because you have zero risk. You know, like It doesn't really matter. Yeah.
I would get money if I sold my PS4 that I could use to buy games on Steam.
Yeah, totally. Nice. So that's pretty much it for me. What about you, Abe? What have you been playing?
Just a couple of things from me. So I, for the first time in many months, I resubscribed to PlayStation Plus for this month of May because there was mainly one game. There was 2 games I was kind of interested in. One didn't actually end up coming to the New Zealand version of PlayStation Plus, which I was massively gutted about. Yeah. So the games that we received this month were Tales from the Borderlands, which was the main reason I wanted to buy it because Balthazar has touted that game so highly in the past. And there was also supposed to be Abzu, which is from some of the people who did Journey, which looked amazing, sort of underwater style Journey-esque game. but that's only in North America, so that's a load of bullshit. Instead, we got a game called Alienation from the people who did Resogun and another game. I can't remember what it was, but it's sort of a twin stick top-down shooter that had been compared online. I'd seen it being compared to Helldivers, which is another PlayStation Plus game that I quite liked. It was kind of like a Starship Troopers style game, but it was primarily multiplayer, so I wasn't too hot on it. Alienation is not great.
Really? Because it's really highly rated on the PlayStation Store.
It's the levels are incredibly long. It feels a lot like a high-end Flash game. It's real repetitive. It's got that loot aspect of like Borderlands, where you're just constantly picking up new guns just because they have a slightly bit higher stat than you had before, sort of thing. I'm not a fan of micromanagement or anything like that, so that's not enjoyable to me. The frame rate is way lower than you'd think it'd be. You'd think this bad boy would be running at 60. It's not. It's 30, sometimes less, sort of thing. And it just feels like a Flash game. That's the best way I can describe it, like a high-end Flash game.
It's odd when those things are exclusive to a system. I just don't understand it. Like, who made that decision? Who at Sony was like, let's pay for an exclusive game to be made on our system that nobody really cares about, like a top-down twin-stick multiplayer shooter? Who was like, you know what we need? A first-party Sony one of those. Like, that just... I mean, I didn't know it's first-party. I just quickly typed it into Steam to see what it costs, and the first thing that came up was Prey. So, search Alienation in Steam, Prey comes up.
They got good SEO going on there.
Yeah, they do. So, that would suggest, that it's a Sony exclusive, and that makes no sense to me. Who wants exclusive rights over a top-down twin-stick multiplayer game? It just...
very, very underwhelming game.
Is it sort of the sci-fi spiritual sequel to what was it? Was it Zombie Nation or whatever? The top-down twin-stick multiplayer PS3 exclusive shooter?
I wouldn't be able to tell you, unfortunately, but it could very well be if it was.
I think it was called Zombie Nation, and it was like free on PS Plus about 10 times over the sort of 6 years that the PS3 was out.
At least this is a game that I played for a good hour and maybe just over an hour, sort of thing. It's not one of those PS Plus games like there's one called Race the Sun or something, which is just this. You're just dodging rocks. It's like Wipeout, but you dodge rocks the entire time. And I played it for literally about 30 seconds. I was like, this is so boring. Got rid of it. So at least I played this for like
Drawn to Death as well.
Drawn to Death.
Just utter garbage.
If you saw our stream, our failed Persona 5 stream when we ended up playing Drawn to Death,
we did like two matches, and then we were like, you know what? We don't want to submit ourselves and you to this.
We did two matches, and I thought, well, I don't know what I'm doing, yet somehow won both of those. This game sucks.
But not much more to say about Alienation. It's not worth a PlayStation Plus subscription if that's what you're after. The other game, Tales from the Borderlands, I would say is, although like I'm not as hot on it as Balthazar, but that I've only played the first episode so far. But it's really fun. It's the most cinematic Telltale game I've played thus far, and I've played Walking Dead Season 1 and The Wolf Among Us, and I think Game of Thrones, the first episode of Game of Thrones, and this is by far the one where I've felt like I get the least to do. It's just
really, because I played Game of Thrones after Tales of the Borderlands, and I felt you did way less in Game of Thrones, like much less.
Did you play through all the episodes?
I played through all the episodes of Game of Thrones, and all the episodes of Tales of the Borderlands, and Game of Thrones felt like the one where you only made conversation choices. That was it, every single episode. I mean, Tales of the Borderlands is primarily making conversation choices, but every now and again you get to press R2 to shoot something.
This is true. I only played the first episode of Game of Thrones because it was free. Yeah. I don't think I'd ever buy that.
I do like that model. I do like that whole, a wee while after the season is finished, they give you the first episode free.
It's good. You've always got something to play, or it's like a taster, and it'll hook you in if you like it, kind of thing. But Tales of the Borderlands is a lot of fun. It's good because it's still Borderlands, so the humor, I'm like, but it's not obnoxious as fuck Borderlands like Borderlands is. It's toned down a lot. The writing's a lot smarter than Borderlands is. There's a lot more weight and consequence to everything that happens, sort of thing. And the characters are actually kind of cool. Like I kind of like some of the characters in that game. So far.
I do like Reese, and I think the thing that I really liked about the game was there were two things. One, your boss was voiced by Patrick Warburton. That's always a win. It's always a win for me. But also, I loved that the whole game was sort of being told by an unreliable narrator. So it was constantly changing the perspective it was coming from and how wacky what was going on. And I think that was kind of what I really enjoyed about the storytelling, was that it was being told by someone who was, you could never really trust if they were being legitimate or not, kind of thing.
Definitely, man. I noticed that immediately as well. There's a sequence in the first episode where you sort of get the choice to do two sort of finishing moves on a person. And when it happened, I was like, "Oh, this took a turn," and then it cuts back, and they're like, "No, that's not what happened." I was like, "Oh, I like that. That's really cool. They integrated that into the gameplay."
Did you go for the first time the one that the Heartbreaker or whatever? Because I think that was what I chose.
I did the Heartbreaker. Yeah. It was the most Mortal Kombat of the two, so I was like, let's do that and rip this dude's heart out. It was pretty cool. I'm definitely stoked for like $12 or whatever it cost me on the subscription for Tales from the Borderlands. So I'll keep playing through it. There's 5 episodes are there?
That sounds about right, yeah. And it gets wackier as it goes along, but in a good way. It never becomes convoluted. It always, maintains focus and stays on point. But it's those unreliable narration moments that become more prevalent as it goes on, and you kind of lose perspective of what actually is. Like that, you definitely, from about the halfway point onwards, you no longer have any idea if any of what's happening was real or not. It's really fun.
Soundtrack's
Borderlands,
good too.
Oh yeah, the soundtrack is really good actually. It's quite unique. I think Borderlands reminds me of your uncle trying to be cool, or your dad trying to be cool, and dressing up in baggy pants and sunglasses and being like, "Hey guys," and like citing 3-year-old memes. And then Tales from the Borderlands actually almost is cool. Like it's getting towards their sort of thing. That's why I don't like Gearbox, like Battleborn and Borderlands, because it just it feels like they're trying to be, hey everyone, look at us, we're so hip, we know all the references. It's like, oh my god, you pandering son of a bitch, get out of here.
But the soundtrack is phenomenal as well. After every episode, I downloaded the sort of opening song for each episode, because they nail it. They nail the atmosphere of with the soundtrack for the opening of every episode, just consistently. If anything, it gets more relevant and better with each episode, the soundtrack choice.
Awesome, man. I can't wait. I'm definitely gonna. I'm sure I'll probably have it finished by the next podcast, I would imagine, because I'm playing it pretty much every day at the moment, so it should be good. We will move on into the next section, which, if you've been following the OCG show over the last 2 episodes, I believe it is, we started a thing called Pitch Me a Dream, which involves a URL called videogamena.me, which is a video game generator that generates the title of a video game. We then assign that to one of the 3 of us, and we have to come up with a pitch for that game and pitch it to the other 2 people. Now, the first one we did was Regan, and he got a game called Heavy Metal STD Polo. That was a lot of fun. Regan pitching to was it Capcom and Ubisoft last week. And this week, Balthazar, do you want to tell us what the title you got last week was?
So the title I got was Turbo Bandicoot Boy.
So immediate IP infringing implications.
It's gonna be great.
I'm interested to see the creative license that you've taken with this, because I believe you've changed the grammar of the title as well.
I have.
Okay.
So yes, I've chucked in Abe's favorite semicolon to create a subtitle within the first game of the series.
Subtitle. God damn it.
Nice.
All right, we'll duck out, me and Regan, and we'll go and grab the representatives from Rockstar and Polyphony Digital.
Before you guys do head out, I just dropped a box art picture in the Slack channel. If you guys just want to make sure that they both receive that picture as well. It's a talking point.
Oh, yep, I'll make sure he gets it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Yep. No, we'll have the box art up on the Facebook page, facebook.com/.
Oh, God. I did it literally like 30 seconds before we went live. I just threw it together in Photoshop, so,
You're going to be able to view this, and remember, it's Balthazar's box art. Yeah, every one of these we'll do. We'll pop the box art up on the Facebook page so you can have a look. So no, that's all systems a go there, Balthazar. So I think we'll duck out and grab these lads, and awesome. We'll be back in just a second.
Are the gentlemen in the room?
The gentlemen have arrived. They're just sitting over there waiting. So Balthazar, if you want to take a seat here, and we'll start this pitch here. These guys they've got their refreshments. They're looking bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
If we could go ahead and keep this fast, I really need to get on a plane. So let's hear all about it.
All right. Hey, thanks, Rockstar. Thanks. We'll definitely kick right into it for you. Thank you for coming. Thanks, Polyphony, as well, for coming. Really appreciate both of you being here, especially, we were quite surprised, Polyphony, that you said you were happy to come along with this. Obviously, previously being a Sony exclusive developer, certainly highlights that the rumors are true that you are jumping ship towards multi-platform development, since you're keen to hop on board with this Xbox Scorpio exclusive title. We're branching out. Yeah, this is really an exciting opportunity for you to do that as well. So without further ado, I present to you Turbo Bandicoot Boy. Now, as you guys can see from the box art here, we're straying away. We believe that Sony and Naughty Dog have held on to the word Bandicoot for too long. It's time to branch out, make it usable again for everyone, and this franchise is an exciting way to do that. And yes, I've said franchise. We're not just in for one game here. We're in for a genre-defining experience that's just going to keep on going. So if I say to you guys, Turbo, what do you think? I know what you think. Turbo, it's high octane, it's juiced up, it's ready to go. So of course we're creating a racing game, but racing games are getting a bit stale. Rockstar, you guys, what's your take on the racing game scene at the moment?
Well, racing games, they really need to have online aspects these days, and so I'm keen to hear a little bit about what your plans are there. It needs to be online.
I love it. No, you're absolutely right. That's why you're here. You've got the right ideas. Turbo Bandicoot Boy is absolutely going to have online aspects. Let me set the scene for you. Racing games, typically, you've got a track. It's a closed circuit. You go around that. You go around it 3 times, 5 times, whatever. No, that's rubbish. That's boring. That's the past. The history is old. It's gone. The future, however, which is what I was going to say originally anyway, is tracks that generate themselves as you are racing them. So why does a track need to be a closed loop? A closed loop is repetitive scenery. That's not fun for racing on your own. It's not fun for racing with friends or online. You learn the tracks, you learn the shortcuts. It gives you too much of an advantage, and if anything, removes the element of actual raw skill from the game and being able to just be good at the game and play the game. So what we're doing here is we're utilizing the quintuple flop whoople cores of the Xbox Scorpio to be able to render the track as you're driving along it. Now, not the entire track as you go, obviously. It renders a decent amount of the track, so 1 lap, for example, but a lap isn't a closed circuit. A lap might wave along a bit on a line, have a lot of loops, go around, but the end of the lap is effectively when the next track renders, and you're now on a new track. Now, you may hear this and think, oh, well, what's the difference between that? If you're still doing laps and you're still racing around a track, how is this the future of gaming? Well, that's where you bring in the multiplayer element and the more demolition aspect of the game. So we're not thinking that just coming first is enough anymore. That's gamers these days, they want a lot. They want to feel like they're not just doing well themselves, but they're actively also harming their opponents and really giving it to them and beating them. So this is a combat racing game as well. You are going to be getting power-ups. You're going to be fighting your opponents as you go, but none of that, Mario Kart ridiculousness with the power-ups. These are things like, this is a futuristic race, so you're in hover cars here, so these are conceivable things. A power-up might be an electric barrier on the front of your vehicle, so you can just ram into the back of your opponent and, temporarily disable them or send them spinning into the side of the track or something like that. And, of course, with the Scorpio's power, again, comes the ability to have fully destructible terrain. terrain. So you may grab a rocket power up for your vehicle while you're driving along, and you may miss who you're aiming at. You know, it happens even to the best of us. Sometimes we miss a shot, but your shot might crash into the base of a skyscraper, triggering it to topple onto the track. And now that it's fallen on the track, the other racers need to get around it, or it may even destroy the side of the track, creating a whole new route for the people behind you to have to drive around to get back onto the track.
Oh.
I'm glad to hear you're excited with this, Polyphony, because obviously with your track record, pun intended, with these types of racing games, we really hope that you can bring, some insight as to how we can move forward with, live track development. I mean, to paint a picture of what a race might look like, you'll start off at the starting line. Obviously, you'll start racing down the track, getting your power-ups, maybe destroying some as you go. You might be on a rocky outcrop. This may be the setting. You're going under some rocky arches, you're going around some rocks. You reach the end of the lap. The end of the lap might be the edge of this rocky outcrop. You might drive off, and the second lap might actually be you now driving vertically down the side of a mountain that you were actually driving along the top of. So the second lap of the race is a whole new track that rendered while you were racing the first track. So there's no loading screen or delay between the two tracks. That track already loaded while you were racing the first track. And of course, once you finish the first track, once the last player has come off the first track onto the second track, that first track is now gone. The system removes that from being rendered because it doesn't need it anymore, so that it can begin rendering the third track, which might be when you hit the bottom of this cliff now. You re-engage your stabilizers on your vehicle, you make that horizontal plane shift again, and now you're racing through a jungle, which might be what was at the bottom of this mountain. So the scenery is constantly changing. The level is constantly changing, but you're still doing one race, and just instead of 3 laps, you have 3 tracks.
I like it. Tell me about Bandicoot Boy. What is why a Bandicoot, and what part does he have to play in this racing game of yours?
What an intelligent and good-looking question, Rockstar. Bandicoot Boy is effectively the main character in this franchise. So there is a whole world here. As you can probably imagine, these races can be quite dangerous. If you're destroying your opponents, people are dying. So to create a world in which this is feasible and in which this makes sense, we needed to create a backstory for these drivers and for the existence of the races. So essentially, this is a sci-fi future world in which criminals who are given the death sentence, instead of merely being executed, are enlisted as turbo racers, where the racer that finishes still doesn't actually, get to avoid the death sentence. If his crime was that, horrific that he needs to be killed, he'll still be on that line. It will just be prolonged. He will have the opportunity to enter another race and another race and another race. And because these criminals, may have had such violent tendencies or histories, they're probably actually getting a kick out of racing. So really, it almost is the same as getting that death sentence removed by being able to continue to enter these races and keep competing as they go along. So the first game in the Turbo franchise, Bandicoot Boy, centers around the character Bandicoot Boy. So while a large aspect of the game will be the competitive nature, the multiplayer scene, there will be a campaign mode for people who just want to start off and learn the ropes of the game. And in that campaign mode, you will take the role of Bandicoot Boy, an individual who earned his name really through his appearance and the nature of his crimes. He is Australian by nature, and he used to abduct small children and eat them, and he would kind of root around in people's garbage, a bit like a coyote, really. But no, we as I said at the start, we really, as well as taking polyphony from Sony, we want to take one of their beloved words from them as well. So we've gone with Bandicoot. Really, with this game, Microsoft wants to make a push that we are the dominating console force in the market, and have everyone forget about Sony entirely.
Very, very dark sound, Bandicoot Boy origin.
Hey, well, Polyphony, your origin, we feel you'll fit right in. Certainly there's been a lot of history, which is why we believe you want to jump ship from Sony as well. We know that they've not been able to deliver upon promises they've made you with hardware, which has also resulted in you not being able to deliver on promises you've made to gamers regarding technical specifications of games. That's not your fault at all. That was entirely Sony. They weren't able to deliver what they promised they could, but with the hardware of the Xbox Scorpio behind you, you'll be able to deliver on every promise that you make.
You speak from the heart, Balthazar, son.
Thank you. Coming from you, that means a lot.
You know what? It sounds like a really great IP to me. I'll need to take this back and have a think about it, but I'm really intrigued. I'm keen to see what you guys are thinking in terms of beta software and seeing where we're at. I'm assuming you've got an engine ready for this, we'll be in touch. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you, Rockstar, for your time.
We heading off as well. I show clients Tokyo. I will be back in touch.
Thank you, Polyphony. Always a pleasure to hear from you.
And there we have it.
All right. Looks like those guys are just heading out as well. They're hopping on their planes.
Good pitch there, Balthazar. I think they were quite taken by that. Yeah.
Very good pitch, man. There's you've built an entire world around that one.
You even
that's why Microsoft gives me the big bucks.
Yeah. You even pandered to like the I guess the state of the industry. You really pushed that. It was good. It was good stuff.
Yeah. We know if at the end of it we do tallies as to whose pitch wins, that's what I'm going for, really.
Yeah. Nice
Good stuff, man. Well, I guess it's my go.
So, get on that name generator.
I'll head into the name generator and we'll generate. Okay. All right. Well, my game next podcast is going to be called Lair of the Bomberman Hospital.
A lair of the Bomberman Hospital.
That's the one. Lair of the Bomberman Hospital. So,
okay. What are your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts are that the Bomberman Hospital is going to be some sort of sentient hospital, I would imagine.
It has to be, right?
But Lair is a existing IP.
It was that dragon one, right?
It was the dragon game that harnessed the 6-axis controller. Well, kind of for PS3. So I don't know. Maybe there's something to it. Maybe there's some dragons and sentient buildings or something. I'm not entirely sure. Terrorism aspect. Bomberman immediately jumps to mind as someone blowing something up. So yeah, I don't know. I overthink about it.
Remember, Abe, if you're struggling too much, the dastardly semicolon's always there. You've always got the option of Lair of the Bomberman Hospital.
Yeah, that could work.
Oh my god! All right. Which companies are you guys going to be inviting over to Wellington?
I think I'll get in touch with my reps at Sega for this one.
Oh, very good, very good.
Nice. I'm not quite sure. I think I might. It sounds to me like it could be a Switch title, so I think I'm gonna go first party Nintendo.
First party Nintendo. Wow, new IP for Nintendo.
Potentially. I guess we'll wait and see how the pitch goes.
Very good, very good. We'll tune in next fortnight for my Lair of the Bomberman Hospital pitch. We better move into some news. Not too much has happened. Both sort of. What are they? They're both PC related, I guess, Balthazar. So if you want to lead off with this one, man, tell us what's happened in the last fortnight.
Yeah, so there's been, a small thing that was exciting for me, really, is the old top 10 Vanquish is coming to Steam. Yay, Sega and Platinum porting things. Brilliant.
So that's after the Bayonetta success.
Yeah, so they successfully ported Bayonetta, which meant that they had plans to kind of port all future Platinum Sega releases, which, to date is none since they've started it. But, it meant that Platinum were quite keen to just put Nier straight on there kind of thing. And hopefully it means Revengeance will come over eventually. But yeah, Vanquish is the next on the list, and it's the 20-somethingth, I believe, of May. It's pretty soon that it's coming out.
26th of May. And you can pre-purchase it for $27.99.
Yeah, and if you pre-purchase it, you get an upgrade to the deluxe edition for free. And if you already purchased Bayonetta on Steam, you get 25% off your pre-purchase of Vanquish. So, you know, it's all good. All sounds good. Sounds like they've got a good model in place, rewarding people for buying previous ones. Sounds like, yeah, Bayonetta was a big success, so there's a lot of faith that this one will also be, you know, actually running at 60 FPS, you know, 4K resolutions and stuff without performance issues. Yeah, it's exciting times for PC gaming, really, to see a whole load of these previously console exclusive games being ported in, you know, a good way, not just a throwaway port, but an actual well-optimized port.
Yeah, I can see the incentive as to why you're looking to jump ship onto PC, Balthazar. Vanquish was one of your, or was it last week? It was the week before that. It was your top 10 game, one of your top 10 games, and now it's making its move over to your platform of choice.
It is
very, very cool.
And then the other probably larger piece of news is the Darksiders franchise being resurrected with the announcement of Darksiders 3 from THQ Nordic.
Nice. Was that originally published? Was that developed by? Was that their name back when they did 1 and 2? THQ Nordic. Something else.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I've never paid huge attention to developers and publishers, other than the obvious ones, kind of thing. And I always knew it was a THQ game, but I don't know if it was sort of THQ Nordic or if it was just THQ General kind of thing.
Yeah, and then maybe an in-house THQ developer or something.
Yeah, but no, certainly very exciting. Darksiders 1 and 2 were both really good games. Played them both on the PS3, rebought them both on the PS4, only to find that they are utter garbage ports that don't run at all. Somehow they run worse on the PS4 than they did on the PS3, which is especially disappointing because I was tossing up in my head, do I get the remakes, you know, the HD remakes on PS4 or PC? And I went PS4. But Darksiders 3, no, yeah, I'm not happy with the visual design of the main character, but other than that, I mean, it's going to be a great game. It has to be. 2 was such a step up from 1 as it was already, that 3, even if it's just as good as 2, doesn't even need to be a step up again from 2, even if it's just as good. 2, when it first came out and was brand new, just as a new experience, was so fun to play. I'm super excited for 3, yeah.
So Darksiders, I'm still not too familiar with this franchise. What sort of genre is it, Balthazar?
So it's an interesting one because at the core of it, it's an action RPG. Kind of you level up, you get abilities, you empower them, there are collectibles and stuff, but it's also just an action game in that you're just running through a world killing a lot of stuff. And the reason why the first game I think was so successful was because there hadn't been a new Zelda game in so long. It was a Zelda clone, essentially like a 3D Zelda game clone. You ran around this world, you got keys to open chests, you did dungeons, and during the dungeons you would get an item which would be, you know, sort of integral to completing that dungeon. And then when you had it, you could go back and use it in the overworld to access new areas and stuff. There were, you know, collectibles to increase your total amount of life and your total amount of mana. Like, it was a Zelda clone, but set to kind of a underworld storyline of the Four Horsemen and the end of the world and stuff like that. So I think that's probably also why I enjoyed it so much, having enjoyed the, you know, 3D Zelda games like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess and stuff. Right. And then 2 took it to the next level by adding more RPG elements, where it added weapon and armor drops and things, so you kind of upgraded your gear as you went through, and you got lots of different weapons, whereas War just had his sword and then kind of boss weapons and stuff he could get. In Darksiders 2, you had your scythes, but then you could also use hammers, axes, claws, swords. Like, it became more RPG, but still focused on the open world Zelda style exploration and powering up. So 3, it'll be interesting to see. As I said, if it's as good as 2, it'll be good. But one of the reasons why 1 and 2 were so good was because there hadn't been a a good new Zelda game for so long. Now there has been. So I'm wondering if now Darksiders 3 might actually feel like a pale imitation now that we've had Breath of the Wild.
The way you describe it, though, sounds like it's got enough of its own stuff kind of going on that it isn't necessarily like it's kind of styled on it, and it sounds like it pulls a lot of inspiration from it, but it seems like it's not a one-for-one clone, you know?
I think that's the thing, right? I think if Darksiders 1 came out shortly after a new Zelda game, it wouldn't have been successful. But because 1 and 2 came out and have been successful, it's now its own franchise. So if 3 is like 2, it shouldn't feel like a poor clone of Breath of the Wild or anything. It should feel like the next iteration of the Darksiders series, which is now its own thing. So I think it's exciting. I'm really interested to see what happens with it. Obviously, I'll be picking it up kind of regardless of what the preview footage and stuff looks like, but as I said, I am concerned at the moment that I have to kind of play that character. Like Fury I do not like her design at all. Her original design from Darksiders 1 and 2 was much better. I'm not sure why they've decided to redesign her after she already had an existing in-game, in-universe design. But I guess it's because we only saw her in concept art for the previous games, not actually in the game. And I've decided that concept art wasn't on point with what they wanted anymore, but it was certainly a lot cooler. So I'm not sure. They've kind of just gone for a weird, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't even know what it's based off. A kabuki mask, kind of. It's really weird. She's creepy looking. Maybe that's what they wanted. They wanted her to be creepy and evil looking. She's one of the 4 horsemen. But I don't know. Not a fan. But the game will still be good, I hope.
Good stuff. Yeah, I'm intrigued by the description you've given. It's just a shame that the PS4, because that's what I would have played it on. The PS4 port is so appalling.
Yeah, I haven't looked back to see if they were patched. As I said, I've got them both as digital downloads when they were both kind of on sale in the store. So I could, load them up again, see if they're better. But I just suffered hard crashes repeatedly. I probably tried to play each game for maybe 4 hours total. And in the 4 hours in each game, I had at least as many 4 hard crashes at least in each game over 4 hours. So I just stopped. I just couldn't. It was damaging my, love for the series, playing it in that state. So it's possible they've been patched since. And I definitely recommend looking up to see if they are playable now, because they're very good games. So if you can pick them up in a, playable manner on the PS4, I'd recommend it. There's also the possibility that the hard copies might actually work fine, because they did release them, like you can buy Darksiders 1 and 2 on one disc, like as a hard copy on PS4. I'd imagine that probably works fine. But
the definitive edition, I think it was called.
Yeah, definitive,
yeah.
Ugh. There's now, actually, though, I believe the definitive edition was just the Darksiders 2 remake name, and the Darksiders 1 remake was called War Mastered Edition.
Okay.
And the combined one that has both is called, Fury's Legacy or something, and it's the twos. I'm not sure why they're using the character from Darksiders 3 that's not even out yet to market a remake of the previous 2 on one disc. But yeah, it's something like that.
Focus testing, man.
Yeah.
That's what it'll be. Focus testing. No, that's very cool. That's probably all the news we've got for this week. E3 is very, very fast approaching, so we'll probably talk about that in the next podcast or the one after that, I would imagine, because it's less than a month away, I guess. Now,
there's always a bit of a dry up of news before E3, aside from obviously leaks and things like that as well. But I'm sort of hoping
there'll be plenty of that.
Yeah. The hype train will slowly kind of keep,
leave the station.
Yeah, leave the station, build up speed, or whatever shitty metaphor you want to use. Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, I think we're almost at the end of the podcast here, but as per usual, we go through and we talk about one of our top 10 games of all time. And this week it is Mr. Regan Harper.
Regan Harper. Yeah. It is my turn this week. This time around, I'm going to talk about a game that is quite dear to my heart, perhaps a little bit different from a lot of people in terms of maybe when they were young they didn't necessarily come across this game, but when I was a kid, was a huge fan of Age of Empires 2, the Age of Kings.
Nice.
Is my game this week. for a number of reasons, and we've talked before about how kind of part of our top 10 is that they can be in our top 10 for whatever reason, and for me a lot of mine are kind of in there because they contributed to my development as a gamer or informed some part of my gaming at whatever age. Age of Empires was the first kind of multiplayer gaming that I ever did. So we had at my primary school we had this we were quite lucky in that we had a computer suite of around, I don't know, maybe 15 or so computers in one of the classrooms, and this was early on. This is quite early for this kind of thing to be happening, and they were all connected up on a little LAN, and it was awesome. And so I think maybe I want to say like Weet-Bix or something came out, and it had like Age of Empires 1 like bundled in there or something like that.
It was the Kellogg cereal, so it was Cocoa Pops and Riceys and things, because I got Age of Empires 1 and Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX out of a cereal.
Yeah, it would have been that. It would have been something on those. So anyway, someone got that. It wasn't me specifically, but then they went around and they installed Age of Empires 1 on all of the computers at the primary school. And so we ended up having these massive like LAN battles of all of us playing Age of Empires, and it was amazing. And that was kind of my first sort of me delving into what it's like to have kind of a community around games, I suppose. Right. we would meet up on a Saturday, and there was one of the teachers who was who enjoyed it as well, and kind of one of the computing teachers who would come down and open up the computer suite for us, and we would all like have these massive games on a Saturday. And so really got hooked into Age of Empires 1, and then I think maybe that year that kind of all happened was the year that Age of Empires 2 was released. And we had mum and dad had bought a computer, and so for Christmas that year they bought me Age of Empires 2 when it was released. And this was like, it was amazing to me that it had broken down the taboo of games in my household, like mum and dad buying me a computer game. Like, holy shit, what is happening here? And
did they see it as sort of educational, Regan, because it was historical or vaguely historical?
I've actually never...
And because it was at your school?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if the school's okay with it, then it must be all right. But I've never actually asked them about that, but it was awesome, man. I was stoked with it. So... basically that from that Christmas day through until when I went back to school, I was playing Age of Empires 2, and it was just a phenomenal game in a lot of respects. It was historical. There were like historical campaigns with figures like Joan of Arc, Genghis Khan, William Wallace, I think, was like the opening campaign. So the campaigns were really cool. They taught you the basics of the game. But to be honest, all I really played was just random maps, and I mean, we all
skirmishes.
Essentially. But I was kind of weird in that my tactic was never to go for conquest. Like, I didn't really like destroying the other players. My tactic with Age of Empires has always been to explore the map, try and get the relics, and also build massive walls as soon as I could and early. And then basically create this like metropolis and try and win off relics or wonders. And so trying to apply that tactic was quite fun when there was like a bunch of friends who were just trying to who were all going for conquest. So, I mean, we've all played those games, and it was just, I think for me, there was... something special about that game, and that it was the first chance for me to kind of play with friends and to kind of break down the taboo in my household of like, actually games are pretty cool and they can be played. So that one there has a special place in my heart for sure.
Was it the first instance of tactical gaming or thinking tactically that you had, sort of, Regan? In terms of doing something here and the consequences will happen later on down the road?
Yep, absolutely. So previous to that, my gaming had been things like Sonic, platformers and things like that, where it was, reactions and bright colors on the screen and that sort of stuff. So this was a very different experience, and having to think think about it was pretty cool, and observing the different ways that the different people that I was playing with would approach the game. So like friends who who were, you know, kind of outspoken and like the loud, boisterous kind of friends would go for like, you know, those over the top sort of strategies where they have like 30 catapults and that's it, you know, dumb things like that, you know. And, you know, you'd run out there with like one horseman and just kill them all. Is just things like that. And it really sort of gave me that opportunity to see that games were more than just sort of something you would do for 10 minutes while you were waiting for your mate to, you know, to be ready to go outside and jump on the trampoline, you know.
Right. Something you could invest in.
Yeah, exactly. That was me. Phenomenal game. I still play it. Like, I still have it on my PC, and from time to time I'll still crank it up and play a game. It's it's good stuff.
The old HD version, I think, is available on Steam for a pretty reasonable price these days.
Yeah, that's the one that I have. It's and it's good. I remember for a while there when Windows changed from like 98 to XP or something, it was a bit of a pain to get it running. But now that they've done the Steam version, it's all good. Yeah.
Easy as ever to access old Age of Empires 2.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Regan. That was released 30th September 1999.
Wow. There you go.
Back in the day, that one. Very good. Well, it probably makes us all feel a bit old, to be honest, actually. Think about that. That's all we have time for, unfortunately, but we'll be back again next fortnight. In the meantime, you can find Balthazar's wonderful box art for Turbo Bandicoot Boy. That'll be popping up on Facebook in the next day or two.
I think you'll find it's also very much the box art for StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. You know.
Well, you know, people can assume what they want to assume. But in the meantime, you can find us on Facebook, Overcast Gamer, YouTube /Overcast Gamer, Twitter, all the usual spots, and we try and do a stream every Friday. At the moment, life has been getting in the way, so we sort of, at the moment, we're trying to stream when we can. We're not really committed to a schedule, but we're trying our best. If you want to jump in there, we're twitch.tv /Overcast Gamer, and we try and do every Friday night, but to be discussed more, and we'll see what we can do about making that more regular. So thank you again for tuning in. And any parting words, boys?
No.
No. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
See ya.